Admiral Zexthara of the Galactic Defense Coalition had seen many species rise and fall across the stars, but none had perplexed her quite like humanity. The hairless bipeds from the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star had burst onto the galactic scene barely 2 centuries ago, and already they were turning established military doctrine on its head. Reckless, she muttered, reviewing the latest battle reports from the Kepler front. The word had become synonymous with human tactics among the Coalition's upper command. Where other species calculated odds, planned contingencies, and followed millennia-old strategic principles, humans seemed to throw logic out the nearest airlock. The war against the hegemony had raged for 3 standard years now. The enemy, a collective of machine intelligences that had consumed 17 star systems, operated with cold, mathematical precision. Their ships moved in perfect formations. Their strategies were predictable yet devastatingly effective, and their victory seemed inevitable. Until the humans arrived. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen stood before the holographic display in the war room of the UES Defiance, studying the enemy fleet positioning near Proxima Station. Around her, representatives from 6 different coalition species offered their tactical assessments, all variations of the same theme: retreat, regroup, wait for reinforcements. "The hegemony fleet outnumbers us 3-1, chittered Ambassador Clicktar, his insectoid mandibles clicking nervously. "Standard protocol dictates we fall back to defensive positions." "Agreed," rumbled General Thoss, his stone-like granite physiology making each word sound like grinding boulders. "My people have faced the hegemony before. Direct assault is suicide." Chen nodded politely, then turned to her communications officer. "Signal all human vessels. Operation Wildcard is a go." The aliens exchanged glances, or the equivalent for their respective anatomies. They'd learned that when humans used codenames like Wildcard, conventional wisdom was about to be thoroughly violated. What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. Instead of engaging the hegemony fleet in traditional formation combat, the human ships scattered like startled fish. To outside observers, it looked like a complete breakdown in command structure. The aliens watching from the coalition vessels were certain they were witnessing humanity's first major defeat. They were wrong. The scattered human ships began behaving in ways that defied every tactical manual ever written. The UES Hurricane, a heavy cruiser, powered down all weapons and engines, broadcasting a distress signal while drifting directly into the enemy formation. The UES Thunderbolt began spinning end over end while firing its engines randomly, appearing to have lost navigational control. The UES Tsunami started broadcasting ancient Earth music at maximum volume across all frequencies. Admiral Zexthara watched in horrified fascination as the hegemony fleet, built to respond to logical tactical scenarios, struggled to process what it was seeing. The machine intelligences had contingencies for every known combat maneuver, but they had no programming for a ship that was simultaneously broadcasting Mozart's Requiem while pretending to suffer catastrophic system failures. The hegemony's perfect formation wavered as individual ships tried to analyze these impossible variables. Some moved to investigate the damaged Hurricane. Others attempted to jam the musical broadcasts. A few tried to compute the trajectory of the seemingly out-of-control Thunderbolt. That's when Chen sprung the trap. The disabled Hurricane suddenly erupted with weapons fire from point-blank range, its apparent helplessness having been an elaborate ruse. The out-of-control Thunderbolt had actually been using its erratic movement to position itself perfectly behind the enemy flagship. The musical broadcast from the tsunami had been masking the deployment of hundreds of stealth mines throughout the hegemony formation. But the real masterstroke came from the human vessels that had appeared to flee. They hadn't retreated. They'd been moving to surround the enemy fleet in a 3-dimensional web that no traditional tactical computer would have considered viable. Within 17 minutes, the entire hegemony fleet was either destroyed or disabled. The humans had achieved what 3 years of conventional warfare had failed to accomplish. In the aftermath, as rescue shuttles moved through the debris field, Admiral Zexthara found herself aboard the Defiance, facing Commander Chen across a conference table. "Your tactics make no sense," the Admiral said, her crest feathers ruffled, with confusion. According to every strategic principle we know, what you did should have resulted in complete annihilation of your forces. Chen smiled, that peculiar human expression that still unsettled most aliens. That's because you're thinking like machines, just like the hegemony. You assume war has rules that can't be broken. War does have rules, insisted General Thoss. Physics, logistics, probability. These are immutable constants. Are they? Chen pulled up a holographic display showing the battle's progression. You see chaos where we see opportunity. You see impossible odds where we see a challenge. The hegemony lost because they tried to fight us like we were any other species. Ambassador Clicktar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. But how did you know your unconventional approach would work? We didn't, Chen admitted. That's the point. The moment you become predictable, you become vulnerable. We've learned that sometimes the best strategy is to have no strategy at all. Admiral Zexthera studied the human commander with new respect. She was beginning to understand that what other species called recklessness, humans called adaptability. Where others saw the need to follow established patterns, humans saw opportunities to create new ones. You haven't just won a battle, the Admiral realized. You've changed how wars will be fought. Chen nodded. Every species in the galaxy has been fighting the same way for thousands of years. But humans, we've only been out here for 2 centuries. We haven't learned that certain things are supposed to be impossible. As the coalition fleet prepared to move toward the next hegemony stronghold, word of the human victory spread across subspace channels. In academies throughout coalition space, tactical instructors found themselves having to rewrite curriculum that had remained unchanged for millennia. The humans had done more than win a battle. They had proven that the greatest weapon in any arsenal wasn't superior firepower or advanced technology. It was the willingness to see beyond what was supposed to be possible. The war against the hegemony would continue, but it would never be the same. The machines had been programmed to fight predictable enemies following logical strategies. They had no protocols for opponents who turned irrationality into an art form. Humanity had rewritten the rules of war not by following them better than anyone else, but by proving that sometimes the rules themselves were the enemy.